In Provence, the Southern White Admiral flies in 2 generations between May and August, with sometimes a third partial generation observed in September to October. This graceful butterfly, common in the Midi, thrives on the margins, warm and sunny clearings, riverbanks, the Garrigue, and gardens rich in flowering plants. This medium-sized butterfly, with a wingspan of about 50 millimeters, has the upper side of its wings brown-black coloured, decorated with white spots, characteristic of the species. Depending on the light, iridescent metallic dark blue hues adorn the wings, due to the diffraction of light on the scales. Other blue metallic-coloured creatures live on the banks of streams, like these dazzling banded demoiselles. Or kingfishers, which are a good natural indicator of the quality of an aquatic environment, and which nest in the bank. The flight of the Southern White Admiral is elegant because it has the ability to hover between 1 or 2 flapping wings. In the morning, males and females drink nectar side by side without paying too much attention to each other. In hot weather, males hydrate and feed on the mineral salts on damp soil, which is essential for them to produce the pheromones necessary for courtship and mating. Or come after a shower to drink on wet soil on rural roads. The Southern White Admiral is not shy and is also attracted to human sweat. The territorial male watches closely from a perch on the end of a leaf between 1 and 3 meters high for the passage of females. From time to time, the male makes a small inspection tour and returns to its post. This freshly hatched male adjusts his genitalia. The male is always ready to set off to meet a female or to pursue other butterflies of the same size or larger. Its flight is then brief, with abrupt and energetic changes of direction. As soon as a female passes, the male goes to meet her, and if she has not already mated before, a mating ensues, here on Oregano. The two sexes are similar, although the female is a little larger. Once fertilized, the female refuses the advances of males and beats her wings vigorously in the hope of deterring her suitor. But alas, the latter remains tenacious and is not easily discouraged. The female lays her eggs individually on both sides of the leaves of honeysuckle. The pale green egg incubates between 1 to 2 weeks, depending on the temperature. The caterpillar bites its way out and appears. It will feed on the corian, rich in proteins. Then it heads to the top of the leaf and starts nibbling on the edge. It grows quickly and now goes to the end of the leaf to feed. The caterpillar cuts the leaf to keep only the midrib, creating a perch on which it sits between meals to escape predators. From time to time, it goes down to feed. And climbs back up to its perch. At this stage, the caterpillar is covered with its own excrement, probably to hide its presence. It also collects its excrement in a piece of leaf surrounded by silk and suspended below the perch. A few days later, the caterpillar is ready for its first molt. And now, dorsal spines appear. In its second instar, the caterpillar still maintains its immediate environment, but no longer attaches its excrement to itself. And still goes up to rest on its perch. There is a bug on the leaf, and the caterpillar is gone from its perch. And here, this parasitoid wasp, Cotesia sibyllarum, which is specialised in finding caterpillars of the Southern White Admiral, detects the caterpillar on its perch and injects eggs into its body. The larvae live inside their host while allowing the caterpillar to develop normally. Just before the second molt, the caterpillar stays motionless on a twig for 2 days. Then molting begins. The hemolymph causes the dorsal spines to swell. The caterpillar moves up higher on the branch, and the cephalic capsule is still connected by a silk thread. From the third instar on, the caterpillar remains on the twigs of the host plant and rests in an S-shaped position, which is characteristic of this species. Gradually, the caterpillar changes colour, and at the end of the third instar becomes a little greener. At the fourth stage, the caterpillar is almost completely green, although its spines remain reddish. It's possible to see two caterpillars on the same shrub, as here, where a third instar caterpillar feeds next to a fourth instar caterpillar. Fourth instar caterpillars travel longer distances to feed. It is also at this stage that the larvae of Cotesia sibyllarum emerge from their host in close synchronicity and weave cocoons on the body of the caterpillar, in which they continue their development. Then, after about 7 days, the wasps emerge. The mature caterpillar becomes paler in colour to better hide itself in its environment and goes in search of an ideal place to pupate. Once found, it weaves a small silk cushion with which to grip. And then takes its nymphal position. And then the next day, the transformation into chrysalis takes place at sunset. In Provence, the chrysalis will arch from time to time to form an angle of about 30 degrees, sometimes on its left, sometimes on its right, to avoid being too exposed to the sun. In the evening, it returns to its vertical position. Gradually, the chrysalis becomes darker and darker. And just before emergence, the pattern of the wings is visible by transparency. And then the butterfly appears. Spreads its wings, and dries them. The butterfly adjusts its proboscis. Here, the empty chrysalis. After about 2 hours, the butterfly cleans itself and is ready for its first flight, and goes in search of ripe fruit. In the fall, all caterpillars of the last generation hibernate in a winter refuge, the Hibernaculum. Made from a leaf folded in on itself and held by silk threads cleverly attached to a twig of the host plant. The caterpillars stop feeding until the following spring. At the beginning of March, this third instar caterpillar warms itself in the sun. At night and on rainy days, they still take refuge in their shelter. Then gradually the caterpillars begin to feed after a long period of abstinence. Their spines are small during hibernation, but quickly become larger. In the Midi, the Southern White Admiral can emerge as early as mid-April, producing the first generation. Once its wings dry, the butterfly goes a little further. Adjusts its proboscis, and flies off. The Southern White Admiral drinks the honeydew of aphids on the leaves of shrubs. But it drinks principally the nectar of many flowers of very varied colours. Although the Southern White Admiral is common in our region, it is sensitive to changes in the natural environment caused by human activities. Measures of biodiversity management at various uncultivated locations can make it possible to preserve these natural areas, which are essential for the Mediterranean flora and fauna, and allowing us to see the Southern White Admiral fly in greater numbers in our beautiful region.